I do want to point out how much more pleasing to the eye this look is than the other one we just filmed. Not us. We're not pleasing to the eye.
Thank goodness. Because I had a few comments, but I'm glad that you stopped yourself.
Look how much better this looks.
Fine.
Thank
goodness. Yeah. Wow, that could have gotten awkward because I was going to go off. So,
next on Ugly Thirds?
Yeah, Phil, go ahead and do the thing.
Welcome back to another episode of Ugly Thirds. Today's topic is Winter Classics worst 3 individual jerseys. Gentlemen,
putting the ugly in ugly thirds. It's that time of year. Gotta go.
Oh yeah. Happy Honda Days to you and your family.
I celebrate Toyotathon, sir.
Okay.
That's awkward. We looked at the best 3 jerseys, and I think it only makes sense. We look at the worst 3 jerseys because we're much better at crapping over things and making things and be like, this is awful. The old "it stinks" really, really sits well with us.
Not one person watching this video is going to understand that reference because everybody watching was born after that show was popular.
Hey, I don't know. You look in the... Okay, it's a lot. Most, we're going to get 10% of our demographic.
Number 3. Throwing back to the good old days of...
Phil, when did they wear this?
That was the most recent Winter Classic in 2024.
And when is this a throwback to? That's right, it's not.
V for very disappointed.
It
was... Adidas was the era of the cash grab.
The crap? Yes.
The crash gab.
The Freudian slip was right.
It was the era of the cash grab. And in that era, we thought it would be a brilliant idea to do an outdoor game with the 2 expansion teams that have very little Winter Classic adaptability.
Now, Seattle has some hockey clout with the Seattle Metropolitans. They couldn't use it directly because of a lawsuit.
Sure.
Which we never did hear an outcome of that.
No.
I imagine it was settled out of court.
Here's your tinfoil hat. I'm going to put that on you.
Thank you, sir. Vegas decided they were going to try and match that 1917 look and just invent something. And they kind of if there was a saloon hockey team, I suppose. My favorite thought is it's the Vatican's hockey team. If the Pope had a hockey team.
They can't even the population of the Vatican, they cannot field the team.
This is true. Or you can use those Swiss Guard uniforms. I mean, come on. Phil, can I get a close-up on the crest here? Because, look, there's some good stuff happening. Look at that chain stitching. There's a lot of good happening in there. It's decent felt, though. As soon as it washed, I think it was worse than how my Fanatics one lay. The Fanatics one is not chain-stitched. It's just a straight thing. Not the biggest loss.
Phil, can you go up a little bit? The lighting's not great. You can go back to the regular camera. I think that does it justice. When my niece was a toddler and she was eating string peas or whatever that was, this is what she would vomit up. That's the color right there. That is Gerber peas and bile.
Yeah.
I don't blame Vegas. I blame the NHL for putting this event on and including those teams.
I blame the people who said that we need to match Seattle. That we need to match the vibe. Because, look, this is so adjacent. In the same way in our episode, we played around with the context of it, the concept of it, and actually got something pretty decent. That became the thumbnail image. I feel that if this whole thing was gold and these stripes were gray, you're onto something.
You are.
If this is sparkly gold, which, oh no, they didn't have sparkly gold in the 19 teens, who cares? It's a much better jersey. Or, hear me out, not everything needs to be vintage white.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't, like, okay, vintage white has a role. It can look really, really good. Like, here, it kind of dulls like, I think it would be a bit too bright. There's good ways to use it.
And as an accent, I agree with you.
You vintage white that one, you ruin it.
Yep, this doesn't make sense. This looks great the way it is.
Right. There are times when white is a great contrast. And you know what? Oh, so Seattle's using vintage white? You don't have to. Mm-hmm. This in white would look better because it just would look less monotone.
Yeah.
It's there were some very bad thoughts in putting this together. No one said, "Hey, should we do this?" They all just full speed ahead. We're going to make our Western Saloon jersey, and I don't think anyone actually gave it some thought of maybe on-camera testing, or let's look at some of them, or let's look at a fabric version and not just the thing on this TV on the computer screen.
It's not the worst though.
It's not the worst.
That's the second worst.
That's
what
the
else
second
is that?
worst.
Oh, interesting.
Indeed.
Can I do like my screeching, like? Why is that here? Why can't we just like boop it up a little bit? Why is this bleeding over into the fabric, the stripe? Huh.
That level of detail pedantry. The thing is, first off, I don't think the jersey itself is awful, minus the logo. The logo is bad. They should have used.
It looks like a high school mascot.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so and they have this shoulder patch. If Phil's willing to step away, you can also tell us what year this is.
How many Ponderosas are left?
Maybe look in the Haas's now. Haas's is hospitality. So, look, that's a great logo. And why, if that was on the front, I don't think we ever have this conversation.
No.
I mean, I don't think it's the best logo ever, but for this purpose, the pet peeve of the stripe doesn't go the whole way around when it totally could have.
But even if you take Nashville's current Predator logo and put it right there, fine. Middle of the pack.
You could put the guitar pick there, and it'd be better.
Smashville?
No, Smashville would be a bridge too far.
Boy, they haven't done well in outdoor games, have they?
No.
What is this throwing back to?
Well, okay, so I did include because of the heritage of it, I don't think it deserves to be completely hated. Phil, are you doing your homework right now? What is going on over there?
I'm trying to look at something because of the pictures.
People heard.
Phil?
The one viewer we have has turned away.
Thank you, fan. So it's based on the Dixie Flyers of the EHL. I believe it's the EHL.
One of my favorites.
Well, I mean, like you go back, like the Jersey Devils started there and whatnot. Like there's some heritage to the league, but that's the look, and they had to do it white apparently. I mean, why the NHL is so anti-color v color when the one time they did it is outstanding.
Yeah, they did nice.
So I realize you can't get like that Bills-Jets game, which was bad for anyone who had color blindness.
Right.
But that's not all of them. I mean, UCLA and USC have been doing color v color for years, and it looks amazing every time. Like, figure it out.
You and I have talked about
Phil,
how... Thank you, Phil. You and I have talked about... He's looking at Ponderosa's menu. You and I have talked about how the NHL does such a poor job of giving you the history of what we're throwing back to. It's mentioned like briefly, like Gary Bettman like dangles it out there, and then it's never talked about again. They're
so bad. And I was thinking as I was driving home from work, because I was thinking about like what we're talking about. Like I've said, like I've gone full California girl, Valley girl. My Connor Bedard Blackhawks the current Winter Classic jersey.
Nice jersey.
Can't call it 2025 because it's New Year's Eve. 2025 Winter Classic. They put stitches in the numbers to match the pinstripes of Chicago baseball. They go out of their way to explain that, to have that level of detail in there with explanations, part of the salesmanship. but you can't mention the Dixie Flyers or the Pittsburgh Pirates NHL team. Like, they played into the baseball teams far more than, hey, Pittsburgh had an NHL team in the past. That's what this is throwing back to. Nashville had a championship minor league team. That's what we're throwing back to. No, it's up to idiots like us to try and dig this stuff up and appeal to the tens of viewers we get. Like, do better. Their ability to market is so bad. So bad.
What did he call me?
Bad?
Okay. I thought he said something else, but...
Bunch of maroons.
What I was trying to look up is, if you look at the picture on the slide deck, the jersey, the Y is almost touching the border, and that's
I think that's a thing. I think
right. So that's why I think they kind of did that with the P to kind of make it match.
Nobody knows that.
I'm just trying to make an explanation.
You spent like 15 minutes looking for the
because
picture
all
to
the pictures
begin
are different.
Enhance.
I don't know. Should I try Apple AI and see if I can get that to go?
I'm curious about...
Don't feed the Terminator.
You're number one here. Because for me it's here, but I want you to justify yourself. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think you're wrong.
There's a shock. Whenever in a lot of our competitions, a lot of our doing the show, a lot of our countdowns.
Yeah.
Well, the most egregious thing is when they didn't do the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
There's attempts here. There is a good faith effort to do something decent in these. Look, they found their heritage. They might have copied it so far that the P touches the line like the Y in Flyers did. Maybe.
Debatable.
Do you know who didn't?
Oh, never mind. I see.
Because...
What don't I see? I don't see.
Go ahead, let's spot the differences. What year is this first off, Phil?
Oh, you didn't tell me Chicago. You told me Nashville and Vegas. You didn't tell me
It's
Chicago.
2017.
Ah, very good. That's what I said.
But, spot the differences.
Man, this logo is small.
Well, one's happy, one's sad.
So it is the older logo, and can you confirm, because there's two Winter Classics where this is nearly identical. Can you confirm if the other one... Because we only have the one of them.
Series.
No,
Yes.
I know the one you're thinking too.
Oh.
There's a second Winter Classic, the one they played... There's the one they played Washington, the one they played St. Louis. That's the St. Louis one.
Yeah.
Which would mean the Washington one, which we don't own, which I think it was black cuffs.
Could be.
And then this didn't go all the way to the bottom with black. It was exactly like this one. Check if it's the old logo, Phil. The number... Okay, so the crest is slightly different. It's the older crest that is a little more unflattering details.
Okay.
They took the red out of the collar and put laces. Wow.
Okay.
This part is black, and the tomahawks move on to the stripes.
I can't think of anything more classic than that.
Obviously. It's so lazy. And I can't imagine. Okay. They took the red outline off.
They did, and it's the little things like that. All right, now you're kind of convincing me here. It's the little things like that. It reminds me when we were talking about Reverse Retro 1, and we're looking over the list, being like, oh wow, this is great, this is terrible, and then we look at the Islanders. You're like, they didn't do anything. They they put their name on somebody else's work, essentially. They didn't do the assignment.
Call us teachers, but when someone doesn't do the assignment, that's the worst one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You turn something in, but it's crap, is better than I didn't do it. And this is I didn't do it. And they had the nerve, the gall to do the same thing twice. Phil is deep in the enhance.
Are you saying another classic with that?
So
logo?
there's
there's no classic with that logo.
Okay, everybody's on their phone. I guess I'll entertain.
They had the Stadium people. Series and the Winter
2015
Classic.
Winter Classic. So I believe the 2015 Winter Classic didn't even use the old logo.
No, they didn't. It's the current logo. It's the happier one.
Do you want to zoom in on my phone for this?
That's not the point of jersey cam.
But it could be. That's the only one that's worse because it is exactly the same. But like, none of us bought one because it's so basic.
Yeah.
That's the only one that's worse. That's the only one that's worse.
Okay.
So NHL uniforms, that one we should have been smart, but maybe if Phil edited it in, you're gonna.
I bought this from, I think this is a full moon for like $36. Like you can still get these on full moon if I'm not mistaken.
You'll see them on eBay every so. Usually they're around $80 with customization on it. And I don't feel like paying that.
Yeah.
And the other one is worse. And I'm actually gonna have to pay attention. Maybe I've scrolled past it thinking it's just a white Blackhawks jersey. Like
it's possible.
Brutal. Like they didn't do the assignment. They just simply did not do the assignment. Or at least these other ones tried. And there are Chicago jerseys they haven't done. Even the '92 throwback has not been brought back.
Yeah.
I know they've done a lot of outdoor games, but and then look at this year is proof that they can come up with something.
Yeah.
When they try.
Sure. It's gorgeous this year.
Yeah. And that came out of nowhere.
But then you flip back to reverse retro, Chicago.
Yeah. Their first one I really like.
Yeah.
That's actually but it's to an obscure one in the '40s. And where's that one? You know, they actually wore that one with big football numbers on it for a couple years, the logo on the sleeves. You know how good that would be in a stadium?
It'd be awesome. Nobody calls you for advice.
I know.
Unbelievable.
I keep talking, no one listens.
Yeah.
Stop. Just stop. I think we need to end this now.
Phil's worried about my ego being able to fit out that door.
All right, well.
So.
Where to now, sir?
I don't know, but don't inflate his ego anymore.
He wants to take us out. So I'm John, he's Shrems. Phil, take us out.
He already took us out.
I already did, yeah. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, ring the bell to get notifications when we post new videos, and come back for another episode of Ugly Thirds.
Are we allowed to do the next episode now, or
No,
what are we doing?
we're not.
Okay,
No,
fine.
we're not.
That's
Putting
good.
into it.
Okay.